I forgot to take a before thumbnail. This is great. Hello and welcome back to another episode of
Makeup with Athena,
starring me, Athena. Today I wanted to do a masculinizing makeup tutorial. I personally feel like I have kind of androgynous features, meaning I can really pull my features one way or the other. And today we're going to be pulling the masculine, which I do not do a lot. I have done in the past and probably will do again. And I don't have my cat ears because I don't know where they went, which is really sad. But a hair tie will definitely do the trick. And a lot of what I'm going to be saying in this video is going to be generalizations around facial features. Everyone has very different facial features, so I am just showing what I have used in the past and present to masculinize my face when I want to. This is a great tutorial for people who are non-binary, like myself, gender fluid, trans, cosplayers, and also people who do like theater and TV and stuff. Honestly, anytime you need to look a little bit more masculine, then I think that I have a pretty good base to start with, but you can really do this on any face. You can do this with any features, and a lot of things I'm saying are generalizations just to help you understand what I am talking about. Obviously, not every masculine person is going to look like this. Obviously, not everyone's features, whether they were born AMAB or have transitioned or just look masculine, they may not look like this, but I do think it is a good starting point, and you can always take this and run with it in 1,000 different directions and just do what works for you. But yeah, I do know a lot of like really scary things are going on, especially for the lgbtq community and especially for the trans community. And I thought, if this helps someone, I would be really happy about that. This makeup look's gonna be a lot less colorful, but you can obviously add color into it. And once again, this is just how I do masculine makeup. You can take whatever you want from this. You can leave whatever you want from this, because makeup is just colors on your face. And it is self-expression, and it's just playing with it. There are no rules. Alright, so usually you'd think you'd start with concealer, which we are actually going to do the opposite today. I usually do concealer on the top of my lids and then on the bottom, but today we are going to be doing contour on the top and the bottom of our eyes. And we're just gonna, I use this little brow gel as contour because it is cool toned, and I'm just gonna take my finger and we're just gonna smudge that on the top of the eyes. There we go. And the thing about doing any sort of face shape shifting, like masculine, feminine, it is a lot about where the highlights and shadows fall. So we're actually gonna go underneath the eye as well. And I know a lot of people say it's kind of like, oh, it's the look like you haven't slept, but honestly, I like to kind of think of it more along the lines of, because a lot of people with masculine faces, especially people who are AMAB, tend to have more sunken in eyes. They're deeper set into the face. So you can see there is a huge difference between this and this already. And usually when I'm doing my makeup, I like to take concealer and go underneath to kind of bring my eyes forward even more. But with this, we are trying to bring them backwards a little bit. So, and we're gonna make this part really deep as well. Right here along, almost where the nose bridge is. And you don't wanna use a color that is really dark. You wanna just pick one that is almost like you would your contour. It doesn't necessarily have to be as dark as like a dramatic contour. I definitely use cool tones because in art theory, cool tones actually push back things on your canvas. So it would do the same on your face. And you don't have to worry too much about the brow bone because we are going to be bringing the brows down by like a full centimeter. And we are also going to shorten the space between the brows and the forehead. So we're just going to take the contour right at the hairline, and I'm using a small brush for most of this. There we go. You can see that that already has started to create a difference. Now, obviously, when you look and do a side profile, you're not going to see it because it's just contouring. We want this nose ridge to be very defined. And you can make your nose a little bit skinny, but do not do it at the bottom. I am defining it at the top. And if you have anything like a nose bump, which I do, I have a little bump on my nose right here, you can actually use this opportunity to further define it. At least I am going to. And you can just use a compact fluffy brush to blend all of this out. And as you can see, my face shape has already started changing a lot, and it does look gray right now, but it will not look as gray very quickly. So we are also going to define the edge of the nose, and masculine noses are pretty angular. So I'm actually going to define along where my nose normally is. We are not going to try to make it any smaller, any more snatched. We just want to kind of accentuate what's there. So we have that in. We are definitely going to go with the rest of the face and do contour. And we're actually gonna do underneath here. We want this to be dark. And if you want it extra cool on the 5 o'clock shadow line, which I will be doing in a little bit, you can actually add in a bit of gray or blue. I will probably be adding in a tiny bit of blue. So you just take it and you just shadow it. And when you do put some of the foundation on top, it will look a little bit less dramatic because this does look a little dramatic. So you have that, and you are going to be doing the cheekbones, which you're gonna kind of pull them right from here. And you do not want them to be round, but you can actually bring them down. And I do this a lot in my everyday makeup because I really like that look. We kind of want to leave this, we kind of want it to be a little bit hollow. And you can see the difference between this and this. But you do the same thing. You pull basically right from where the ear is, right here. Not right here. It's a little bit too high and a little too angular. And then you pull down. And that's gonna help accentuate almost where the chin is. And you're gonna want this jawline to be pretty sharp. So you're gonna take right behind the ear and just make a line. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then you're gonna do the same thing right here. You wanna make sure that you get it pretty angular so you can see the difference. This is without anything. This is with. And those are the basic shapes so far. You obviously are gonna blend this in. So that is blended, and I actually do wanna do a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow, so I'm gonna take the tiniest amount of this. Right, following me here, and take a little brush. And this stuff is pretty, it doesn't go on too much. We're just gonna cool this whole area down. And I would definitely recommend this instead of like a face paint or a blue eyeshadow because this goes on fairly thin. It is meant to be mixer. You can use it as a face paint if you layer it up enough. So you can see that has definitely cooled up my face quite a bit. And you just go in all the areas where you might have hair. So if you have any male relatives, look at where their beard line is. You can probably guess, even without just looking at your own face, where it would naturally fall. And you can always draw on a beard. I find that that's very hard to pull off in real life, making it look realistic. So this definitely makes me look like I have some sort of 5 o'clock shadow going on, which, you know, we love. And we don't want to go too heavy with this. We're just gonna put it in the spots where we didn't put anything else yet. And we can blend it down into the other areas as well. And you can always do this without the foundation. I feel like the foundation just kind of pulls in more of like almost a TV ready masculine look. Like if you're about to go be a weatherman or something. So you can see how doing this has definitely softened it up a little bit and make it look less dramatic. And we are bringing it down into this blue area. All right, so one of the biggest things I noticed right off the bat is my eyebrows. I noticed that they are still fairly thin. I did recently tweeze them, but I didn't know I was gonna be making this video. And usually they can get thicker, but I still wanna bring them down even from where they naturally are without anything. So to do that, you are going to need a very good brow gel, like a brow pomade. If you just use a spoolie, it's maybe not going to bring them down as much as you'd hope for. It really depends on your facial anatomy and how thick your brows are. But as someone who does a lot of varied makeup looks, I like to kind of keep my brows in the middle of where they can be. They can go higher, I have done it, and they can go lower, but I like to kind of keep them in the middle just because I do so many different looks. But I have this brow pomade, and this is the color of my hair. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in with tiny little strokes of, we are not gonna add anything to the top of the brow. We are gonna do it all from the bottom. We're just gonna go in and lightly add those. And you can see that that's already starting to create a difference in how my face looks. And the brows are one of the biggest things. And you want to be very like slow and intentional with this because blocky brows are going to definitely give away the fact that you are wearing a bunch of makeup. And that's okay if that's the look you're going for. We're gonna add some to the front. And you can always put like stray hairs everywhere as well. I do have a thinner brush and I am going to be bringing that out just to add to this. And you really want to get it in there. And then wipe off the excess because you don't want it to be too, and you just go in and you can add a few little hair strokes. And you really want to focus on this area right here. Just go in super light and add in some stray hairs because that's what's really going to bring the brow down. And you don't have to go this thick either. I just like doing that. And I like adding lots of little stray hairs, and you can actually bring them out as well. And you can also add in a little bit of an arch if you feel like, to kind of shape them the way you want them to be. I did take the hair down because I needed to know what it looked like with the hair down. And I will be putting it back up just very temporarily. So we are going to do a little bit of concealer on some areas that we want to kind of draw more attention to. Meaning that, and this is the part that I kind of got, you kind of want to, you want to dot concealer in just a few shades lighter than your skin tone along where the jawline is, not where you did the contour because that will mess everything up, but right above it, and that adds more of a defining line. And we are going to make the chin bigger by adding a little bit of concealer and just going in an up and down motion. We also are going to use it to make the nose a little bit bigger as well. I'm putting some right above where my nostrils are and also right on the tip of my nose, and we're just gonna gently, very gently blend that in. We don't want to ruin all the hard work that we did with the contour earlier. And we are going to add this right here because the brow bone. There we go. But don't go too far back because you have those shadows there and you need to keep it pushed in front of that shadow. You don't want it going at or behind the shadow. We can actually take this into the forehead as well, just a tiny bit. We don't want to do too much of that. You can add a little bit. I'm going to accentuate that bump on my nose, kind of broaden it out a little bit. So the nose has been done. A lot of this is done. We are going to move on to some of the more superficial things now. You can obviously do freckles. I probably will not be doing freckles. I'm going to keep it pretty basic. I will be doing a little bit of blush. Don't sue me. You do not have to do this. I just think that it needs just a tiny bit of that. But you're just going to go in, and you really want to pick like a blush that is not too pink. You want something more peachy like this. And even this I would say is a little bit pink, but this is the peachiest blush I have. And as you can see, that did not detract from the masculine look at all. It just added a little bit of color into our otherwise grayed out face because we did use a lot of cool tone contour. I may line them a little bit with a nude lip liner. And usually masculine faces have wider lips, so we're gonna go all the way to the end. We're gonna do this in the corners, and I will be using a lip oil. You can just use chapstick. You don't have to use any color on your lips. I just like the hydration. I feel like it looks good. And now we're gonna do the eyes. And for that, I'm actually going to do a little bit of eyeliner on the upper and lower eyes, but I'm gonna be using the same brow gel, and we're gonna keep using that the entire time. So we're just gonna go in, and we don't want it to be super neat. And you can see that's already making a bit of a difference. And usually dark eyeliner actually makes the eyes a little bit smaller when you put it around them, which, you know, that is kind of what we're going for. We don't want those super big doe eyes. We want them to be kind of really far back in the head. And we do want to do this all the way around. We are not leaving that really nice bright part of the eye. We're not going to be highlighting anything. So you can see how that makes a big difference in the way the eyes look. If you want it to be more natural, you can go this way. If you want it to look like you've done yourself up a little bit, you can go this way. And you don't have to put it in your waterline because I know that bothers some people, but try to get it close to your waterline. Another thing you can do is before you start your makeup, you can put a mascara on and just rub your eyes and wash them, and then it will naturally just be in your waterline. So there we go. We have the eyes all done. You can add a little bit of mascara. I think I'm going to basically not do any primer. I'm just gonna add it to the very tips of the lashes. But again, you don't have to do this part at all. You don't have to do any of these parts. I'm just doing what I think looks good. Oh, yes. Another thing that you can do is you can actually contour an Adam's apple. You can accentuate it. Everybody has that because everyone has vocal cords, but you can accentuate yours to make it more defined just by taking contour. Because even if you feel it, like mine's right here, and you can see it when you swallow. So you just feel for that and then you go around it. All right, I'm gonna go get dressed and I will see you very, very soon. So here's the final look, and as you can see, I am definitely flatter. I am flatter here, and that is due to some compression as well as wearing some baggier pants. I definitely think that if you are trying to hide some sort of hips or curves, some loose baggy jeans are a really good way to do that. Also ones that come up a little bit higher. You could wear them lower, but then again, you're going to get that definition at the waist. Wearing looser shirts, and of course, underneath this, I do have a binder. As you can see, it's doing its best. It's really doing its best here. But as you can see, in this lighting, this shadow looks really natural. It looks natural in a lot of lighting. I think that this look would have been just as successful if I had just done not the eyeliner. I think if I just left it as is, that would probably not raise even more bells if you're trying to be stealth in any sort of way, in any situations. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. I live in the South. Even if you get quite close, it's not gonna be that, like, if you do fine enough hair strokes, they're gonna look like hair. The nose does not look costume-ish, which is good. The facial shadow does not, and it has completely changed the shape of my face. This is also a look that you can add glasses to, and it won't detract from, but I'm not gonna wear those for long. Those are prescription, so I will be putting on these bigger, dorkier pair without any frames in them. So to anyone who wears glasses that wants to do this, still very, very approachable. And also, you can take away the shadow and just do the rest of it if you don't want to look like you have 5 o'clock shadow. You can just have that. You can mix and match everything. Like I said, I do some of the contouring tips for my jaw, for my everyday makeup, just because I really like how it looks. So take what you want from this. I mean, it's your face. I think your face looks beautiful no matter what. Now, I will be doing an actual drag king tutorial probably this month, maybe in the next coming months, but that will be showing you how to take this and basically amp it up all the way to 10, which it's gonna look a lot different than this. It's gonna be some of the same principles, but it's going to elevate it more into something that is performative and theatrical other than something you can just wear out. But again, manliness is a concept, masculinity, femininity, all of that are just concepts that we use to describe our feelings. And they really are what you make of them. So play around with it, have fun with it, because the only way that you're gonna win is if you have fun. I am going to also try to do a feminizing face tutorial where basically we do the complete opposite of this. I'm going to try to get that video out sometime this month. I really would like to. I have about 3 or 4 videos in the queue already. So there's a lot of stuff coming, so please stick around. I would love to have you. Well, my friends, it is that time. I really hope that I will see you in the next one. But until then, I hope that you have a day just as beautiful as you are. I love y'all so much, and I hope that you have a happy, safe, and healthy Pride. All right, bye. No. I feel like I look like a tennis instructor. I think it's the shirt. It just looks athletic.